David attended and was intending to speak as a guest, not as our guest speaker, but just as a guest. But we had a lot of things in that meeting, and he had to leave before we got to that time slot. And so I reached out to him and asked him to come back and be our guest speaker, fully aware that we have limited time to engage with David on a direct representative level. And that also is what I asked him to discuss in his talk tonight, because we're all aware that we're moving to the whole county is moving with Clatsop County and a little bit of Columbia County and a new district. But there's a time frame for that. And we know the official date when it takes, but like, do we campaign for David and the new person at the same time? And he's just going to explain a lot of these logistics and give us an opportunity to say goodbye to him, because I got an outpouring of emails from people saying how much they're going to miss David. And it's all yours, David. Oh, I forgot to tell people who you are. You're the representative that represents our southern half of our county, from about the center of Tillamook on south.
Well, thank you so much, Mary. Thank you for the invitation to be with you tonight. And hi, everybody. Thank you so much for everything that you do each and every day to benefit Tillamook County and the communities that make up the Tillamook area. As Mary indicated, I'm David Gomberg. I'm the state representative for House District 10. I've been in this position for 5 terms now, so about 10 years. House District 10 currently ranges from the Tillamook city limits and the South Jetty, so actually further north of Tillamook City, all the way down to Yachats, inland to Sheridan in Yamhill County and to Falls City in Polk County. To get to Falls City, if any of you have been there, you know, you have to actually drive out of my district and take 3 different highways to get back into Falls City. That's the current district that I represent. And yes, I came by at the last meeting because I wanted to share with you some news which was very current then, but I think is still important now. And that is that every 10 years, we are required to go through a redistricting process. The purpose of that is to make sure that our legislative districts and our congressional districts have equal numbers of people, and that those new lines reflect any population shifts that may have occurred. Now, very salient is the fact that Oregon's population has been growing, and we grew enough that we earned a 6th congressional district here in Oregon. More about that in a couple of minutes. But so we were called upon to draw both legislative districts for House and Senate seats and also congressional district lines. And we do go through this every 10 years. And that's part of the reason that we do a census every 10 years, is to figure out how many people we've got and where they live. And when we went through this redistricting process 10 years ago, there was a fair amount of consternation in Tillamook County because the county was divided into 2 districts when previously it had only been in 1 House and 1 Senate district. And there's a lot of people that felt very uncomfortable about the idea that the county was being divided in half. I hope if we've seen anything over the last 10 years, is that we have benefited from having not 2 legislators in Salem, but 4 legislators. That is 2 senators and 2 representatives. And that's allowed us to have more voices, serve on more committees, and get more done for the county. Well, we've gone through this process, and I'm going to spare you all of the drama. You can read more about that in a lot of the news stories covering the recent session. But at the end, we passed out and approved district lines for our legislative and Senate seats and also our congressional seats. Those lines have since been signed by the governor. There are, however, some challenges to those district lines, which will need to be addressed very quickly in our court system. Excuse me. When do those lines take effect? Well, the short answer is that you're not rid of me yet. The lines will be taking effect for the November 2022 election, and then when we convene in 2023 in Salem. But the reason I wanted to come to you last month is to tell you some very sad news. And that is that the decision was made to once again consolidate Tillamook into one district, which means because I live just across the county line in Lincoln County, that I would not be in the legislative district that covers all of Tillamook County. So let's talk for just a minute about where the lines landed. The line for House District 32, currently represented by Suzanne Weber, will start at the Tillamook County line here on the south end and stretch up again as it does through Cannon Beach, Seaside, and Astoria. My own district will run from the Lincoln County line down south to Yachats, so all of Lincoln County. I will no longer represent any part of Tillamook. I'll no longer represent any part of Yamhill or Polk County. Instead, they're stretching me in along Highway 20 and picking up the city of Philomath. I'm also going a little bit further south into Western Lane County along the coastline through Sea Lion Caves, just about to the city limits of Florence, which actually means I'll be representing more people in that area. I'll be representing more sea lions in that area than I will people. And then I'll also be picking up some rural parts of Lane County, just west of Harrisburg and Junction City. But the main population shift is going to be out of Tillamook, out of Sheridan, out of Falls City, and into Philomath. Now, those are the legislative lines. Remember that each Oregon Senate district includes 2 Oregon House districts. So the Senate district that you're in the future will include House District 32 and House District 31, which stretches in along the Columbia River and into portions of Washington County, currently represented by Brad Witt from Clatskanie. The thing I also wanted to point out to you is changes in the congressional district boundaries. In southern Tillamook County, we're currently represented by Congressman Schrader. And those lines have changed dramatically so that Tillamook County will now all be in the congressional district currently represented by Suzanne Bonamici. And all of Lincoln County will be in the district currently represented by Peter DeFazio. And Congressman Schrader has not yet said which district he plans to run in. There is a new 6th congressional district that was carved out. Lisa will be very knowledgeable about this because it includes Marion County, Salem and Kaiser. It stretches into Yamhill County and I'm trying to remember, I think that's the main areas that the new Congressional District 5 will cover. Congressman Schrader, by the way, doesn't live in that district right now. He lives in the current or the currently drawn House District 5, which stretches from Clackamas all the way to Bend. Here's an abnormality for you. Under the US Constitution, people who run for Congress don't have to live in the districts that they're running for. They do have to live in the state where those districts reside, but they don't have to live in the district. Although you can certainly surmise that if somebody's running for a congressional seat and doesn't live in that congressional district, that may have some influence on the outcome of the election. Nonetheless, Congressman Schrader hasn't announced whether he's running for re-election or which district he's running in. There are other people that have already announced they're planning to run in both 5 and 6. That's a quick overview of where we're at tonight. The final thing I want to share, and then I want to hear any questions that you may have, is that it's really very bittersweet. Excuse me, very bittersweet for me to be losing Tillamook County. I have represented this area for the last 10 years. I've built wonderful friendships with all of you and other people in the district. I've worked closely with our communities. I think I've done good work for our communities and the people that live there. It's going to be very hard for me to realize that line no longer extends up to Tillamook and to Netarts Bay. But while the lines may be changing of districts, the lines of communication and the lines of friendship are not changing. And even though I won't be formally a representative from that district, presuming I'm reelected next year, you're not rid of me yet. And I hope that that you take that into account and feel free to call me anytime at all. You know, I said I was going to wrap up here, but one other point of interest, I think, for you is that Representative Weber, well, first of all, I should say that that Senator Johnson has announced that she's not running for re-election in her Senate district. Instead, she is running for governor. And before the ink was dry on that announcement, Representative Weber announced that she was going to be running for the state Senate. So that means that that there is an opportunity to nominate a Democrat for Senate District 16 and also to nominate a candidate for House District 32. House District 32 is going to be wide open. So with that, Mr. Chairman and friends, let me pause. Let me see if you've got any questions about that or about anything else.
Thank you. I will remove the spotlight so that, let's see if anyone has questions. You can use the raise hand or just raise your hand like that.
We have a couple, Cole. I think
There
Kathy
you go.
was first,
Kathy.
and then Fred was second.
Yes, go ahead, Kathy. Thanks, man.
Okay, thank you. Well, I was wondering if David knows anything about the precincts, if they're being redrawn.
That's a great question. I do not know the answer to it, but I believe that that we don't have the same formal requirements for population equity in our precincts that we do in legislative districts. And Lisa, if you're still with us, maybe you might have an answer to that, but I'm pretty confident that that precinct committee lines are not being adjusted.
I know that Marion County with Bill Burgess, they are waiting until the challenges are wrapped up and then they're redrawing all of our precincts here in Marion County. And Bill was talking about redrawing the community college lines. And I mean, there's a lot of things that the county clerks have to do after the court case is decided before January, when things need to be finalized.
And I have also been in contact with our county clerk here in Tillamook, Cassie O'Neill, and she told me the same thing that Lisa said, that when the ink is dry on the court cases, then she'll look at that.
All right, so the answer is potentially, but not clear at this point, and we've got some time.
And another thing is, if you are running for re-election as a PCP, you want to wait until your precincts are finalized before you fill out the paperwork. Otherwise, it'll be invalid on the ballot.
Good point. But we will, the membership committee and the party will help keep you informed about that. We'll let you know when it's the right time to file.
Thank you.
So Fred, you had your hand up? Fred, and then
thank you. And I did not have a question. I just wanted to be among those who speak loudly and clearly about how much we have appreciated David's representation. And that means that every single event that we've held, that I can think of, David has been there. He's been at marches. He's been at our street front getting out the vote efforts, and our women's march that the people in the county ran. And I just can't thank him enough. He is the epitome of what I think we all believe a representative should be. And thank you.
yes, here, Fred. Thank you.
That's very kind, Fred. Thank you very much. And I see some of you other waving and putting some signs up in your Zoom. It just breaks my heart that that I'm not going to be able to serve Tillamook County the same way I have. But I want to emphasize that that we're still friends. And I hope that you'll reach out to me to be whatever help I can be.
Thank you.
Thank
Tom?
you, David.
Oh, please.
Tom, go ahead.
Just to second what Fred said, and we really appreciate Representative Gomberg's newsletters. and his responsiveness. I've never seen a representative as responsive as this. And thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to echo what Tom said about your newsletter. It's really the best legislative newsletter I've ever read. It's always full of great content and insight. It's a smart newsletter, and I appreciate it so much. Mary and then Logan.
The subscription rates are not going up from after the lines are.
That's good news. Mary?
So first, I wanted to mention that there's another reason that we're waiting until the lines are drawn for sure for the precinct committees, precincts. There is a population requirement for precincts. We get one PCP for every 250 people, with not less than 2 people in each precinct. And Tillamook County's population has gone up some. There's every 250 registered Democrats, I should say, not people. And so we get another PCP every time we can get another 250 people registered. And then I also wanted to say that I have appreciated working with you through the election. You were actually the easiest candidate ever to work with in this last election, because I kept calling you and saying, what can we do? And you kept saying, no, I don't need anything. I'm running on my record. And but also want to tell you that as we're transitioning to a new person, we may, since it's a totally open seat, we may have to work really hard for our new person, but I still want to support you in any way we can as Tilco Dems.
Logan, you were next.
Oh, I had a question, but I forgot what it was.
I hear you.
You're going to have to get a lot older before you can do that.
Yeah,
Good point.
he can't use the excuse that the rest of us use.
All right, Sonia?
David, I would like to connect with you about this issue with non-mail service to people. We talked about it at a prior meeting and I haven't been able to connect with you. I have not gotten any traction with contacting my Senator Wyden's office, although they say the person who deals with the USPS. I mean, the most recent issue I heard of, somebody moved to Oceanside. Not only do they not get mail and have to pay for a post office box, but there is none in Oceanside. There's none in Netarts or in Tillamook, and they were told they could have general delivery for a month. And this is just outrageous for people. And so I will try to call you or email you and see if you had offered at one point to try to connect with the feds, our federal representatives about this. So.
Yeah, we've got excellent working relationships with all of our congressional offices. So shoot me an email, and we'll try and light a fire there for you.
Okay, thank you very much. A lot of people are affected by it, so.
Of course.
Thank you.
Also, David, some people are putting comments to you in the chat if you have the time to check that.
Yes, I'm going to take a screenshot and show it to my wife.
Good point. All right. Am I seeing any other hands? Anyone else who wants to comment or question? I have a question for Representative Gomberg.
Cole, and I'm going to thank you again for the time tonight. I met with the Lincoln County Democrats last night, and one of the questions they had for me is how they could help me raise money for the next election. And my answer was, I don't know what the next election looks like yet, but the question should not be how all of you can help me. The question should be, how can I help you? Yeah. I hope that you're planning to put some events together, certainly within the challenging restrictions that COVID is imposing on all of us. But as you do that, count on me as a resource, and I'm happy to come up and help wave the flag with you for anything that you're doing to put a bucket of money aside, whether it's used for legislative candidates or local measures or school boards or anything else. Count on me as a resource now and going forward.
Well, that is so nice. Betsy, you had your hand up. Do you want to?
Yeah, I just, of course, we're going to miss you terribly, Representative Gomberg. And you've been very supportive of the community college. I'm on the board there of TBCC, and you've been so much support. Thank you very much. But I'm just wondering what you would suggest we're up against quite a strong, I mean, in the next elections, what's going to happen? Do you have any suggestions for us at the local level? Should we just be door knocking as much as we can, or anything else that's practical? What do you suggest? Because you are a politician, you've certainly been there for a much longer than a lot of us. Thank you.
Thanks for asking. If I heard the disclaimers at the beginning of the meeting clearly, I heard you say that you're recording this meeting and that you would be using it mostly for the purpose of the minutes and the secretary, but that the portion that where I'm speaking is going to be posted to your webpage. So I'm not sure it's a great idea to be talking detailed strategy and then putting it out in the public eye for people to review. But the short answer is this, and we need to do what Democrats do best, and that is to present good candidates and good ideas, and then get out and knock on doors and make phone calls and make sure people understand why they are good ideas and why they are good candidates. There is so much misinformation out there in the public arena right now that good people just don't know what to believe or who to trust. And we need to find a way to work through that so that we can be a reliable source of good information. So you can talk to your neighbors and they can say, I know Betsy, I trust Betsy. She's got a good head on her shoulders, knows these people. And if she says they are worthy of our support, we'll mark next to their name on our ballot. That's what we do best. We need to do more of it.
Great answer.
Thank you so much for that great response.
Yes, thank you. All right, and thanks again for being with us, Representative Gomberg. All right,